Hi there, it's good to see you again right here on Health Diary. Now, if you remember, last week we started a conversation on postpartum hemorrhage and what it looks like, what are the risk factors, and if it's possible to completely eliminate postpartum hemorrhage, and that is as far as the deaths are concerned. So this week we want to continue with the same conversation but speak to a husband who lost his wife to postpartum hemorrhage and look at what exactly support looks like. And at the same time, also speak on the child's development when it comes to a loss of a parent and what support the community can offer. Well, all that is coming up after this fact of the matter.
Postpartum hemorrhage does not only impact a mother, but also the infant, and the baby's well-being needs to be closely monitored for any signs of distress and complications, especially if the mother's condition is serious. For the parents and the infant, they will likely experience emotional challenges during this time, and therefore, providing emotional support to the parents, such as access to counseling or a support group, can help alleviate stress and promote bonding between the parents and the child.
All right, now last week we began a conversation on postpartum hemorrhage or excessive bleeding. This is after delivery, and we got to understand what it is, the symptoms, who is at risk, and the management of the same. So today we want to continue with the same conversation, but from a different perspective. We want to hear it from a dad who unfortunately lost his wife to postpartum hemorrhage, and would also want to understand, first of all, the role of a mother in a child's development and a child's life, and what is it that communities and people around them can support in terms of, giving them whatever support that is needed. And that is why we have Dr. Laura Oyengo, who's a health specialist from UNICEF Kenya. Good to see you, Dr. Laura. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Thank you for making the time. And we also have Victor Ambula, who's a dad to 4 children, but unfortunately lost his wife to postpartum hemorrhage. Victor, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Thank you so much for sparing the time, really,
Thank you.
to talk to us about this. It's a heavy journey, very difficult journey. But you're here to also help as many people out there who might be going through what you went through. But before that, Dr. Laura, so postpartum hemorrhage, we got to understand what it is. But when we're talking about child's development, and we're told, father and mother, very important, towards a child's development.
Yeah.
Can we take a look at what exactly that means? And now a child, say, who's raised with a single dad or with a single mom, again, how does that impact their development?
Traditionally, the norm is that the mother is the primary caregiver for the baby. Okay. It's the mother who gives the baby breast milk. So breastfeeding, a very important source of nutrition, especially for a younger baby, a newborn, an infant, the first 6 months of life. And then basically it's the mother who does all the supportive care, play, hygiene, feeding, understanding whether a child is ill, caring for them. And the father has a role. However, you find the mother is at the center the first few days or weeks of life. So when a child loses the mother, that gets disrupted. The father needs to step in. The first thing that is impacted is that this is a grieving dad. He needs to take care of himself mentally and also be the support for this child. He can't provide breast milk. How will the child feed? Was he prepared when the wife was pregnant in caring for a baby after delivery? We assume the mother is there.
Will be there.
But when the mother goes, who steps in to support the dad and the family for the child to survive and thrive? So yes, there's a big impact. Very sad, but studies have shown that when a mother dies, the risk of that baby dying is greatly increased. So these fathers actually need even more support.
Yeah, I
Mm.
can imagine.
Mm.
And we look at what support then looks like in all the different forms. You've mentioned
Yes.
one which is mentally.
Yes.
And so we'll delve deeper to understand. So what kind of support does one need when you talk about mentally, and even physically and emotionally as well? But Victor, so let's go back. You have 4 kids.
Yep.
But during the delivery of your last one, you unfortunately lost your wife. So can we go back to that moment?
Okay, it was just a normal day. We had done preparations for delivery. She was in an hospital where my wife would go deliver, and we went there some days a week. I think a week prior, just to ensure that everything was set. We were booked in on 22nd of October. That is in 2023. Then for the CS to be done on 23rd, it was an elective CS. So I took my wife to the hospital on 22nd at around 4. We went through all the required steps, did all the required tests, the blood pressure and everything. Then I left the hospital at around 7 after my wife had already been shown where she'll be sleeping, the bed and everything. So I was just to come the following day in the morning to see her with the baby. So unfortunately, when we came, she was normal. Yeah. But the baby is still alive.
Yeah. So did they tell you, like, were you told what had happened? And
Okay. With one of the doctors called me and broke the news that my wife didn't make it out of the theater.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And this is heavy because now, and you have your kids there to come and see the new baby, but also see the mom. So how do you then break that news to your other kids that, hey, mom is no more?
So what I did, I called my brother. I called a few friends. Then after like 5 minutes, my phone couldn't stop ringing. There were calls after calls after calls. So to cut these long calls, like continuous calling, I decided to post it on Facebook.
Okay.
Like, we're sorry, Zipporah is normal. I posted on my WhatsApp status. So at least people could confirm that what they're being told out there is true. Then for the little boys, unfortunately the sister to my wife had also come to receive the sister from the theater, but so she was the one with the little boys. They didn't know what was happening. One of my friends took them away, went with them to his place. He happens to be a neighbor. So like when they went home, ilikuwa jioni at around saa 11 huko, hospitali wakanipatia 6 hours nijipange nitoe mwili kwa sababu hawakuwa na facility ya morgue. I tried asking for any documents, any papers, like any reports about my wife. They didn't give me anything. So juu singeenda na mwili mortuary without any documentation, we had to go to Kitengela police station. We were given an OB number. The report was written. Then we went to Chiromo where she was preserved. But the following day, now that Jeremy is quite nosy, and he asks on everything. Anataka kujua kila kitu. So wakati Jeremy just nikirudi nyuma, wakati Jeremy alienda kwa rafiki yangu, they were to sleep. Now that dad is not there, dad is coming tomorrow. Okay. So my friend calls me like, it's 12, Jeremy is not sleeping. He's saying that he's waiting for you to come for him. Nikamwambia, fanya hivi, for Jeremy to sleep, it's not easy. Mnaweza kaa macho the whole night. Na mchana utamuona kilala. So nikaambia beshte yangu, fanya hivi, you just go sleep. Wachana Jeremy sitting room. Akitaka kulala atalala. So the following morning, now that I told you si mbali na kwetu, the kids came home. Kuja nyumbani, wanapata nyumba imejaa watu. Wanajaribu kuulizia where Janelle is. Their sister, Janelle is not there. Where is mom? Mom is not there. Then there's my in-law, a wife to my brother, who's a specialist in dealing with kids.
Okay.
So she asked me like, allow me break this news to them. Now that it will be hard for you, then nikampatia
Go ahead.
the go
At
ahead.
least to explain to them in a way that they can
Yeah,
understand.
so she called them at a secluded place. They talked. Alianzia from afar, from the way she was telling me.
Yeah.
Mi sikuwa kwa hiyo
Bring
room.
it.
Sikuwa kwa hiyo room. Then later, she broke the news like, your mom is dead. The kids broke. That's when I entered the room. They were really crying. We hugged, all of us crying. But I'd say that it was a tough moment.
I can
It was a
imagine.
tough
I can
moment.
imagine.
But so far, we are coping.
Yeah.
We are coping, I can say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just really must commend you for coming to share your story. Because again, it's never easy,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
To lose a loved one. So really thank you for sharing. Dr. Laura, I know we need to go on a break, but just based on what he's saying, how do you even tell your kids that, mom is normal or dad is normal, but because we're focusing on postpartum hemorrhage and the impact that it would have and how to just tell them, that this is what life is going to look like with mom no more. Can we just go through that a little bit before we go on a break?
Talking with kids, for most people is hard, but children are very perceptive. They understand something is not right.
Okay.
And you can hear him say, his son didn't want to sleep.
Yeah.
He wanted somebody to tell him what is going on.
Yeah.
So for children, first, the news has to be broken to them. They need to know. And the second thing, their trusted adult needs to be there with them. And in this case, he chose the in-law, and then he came in.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be scared of kids crying. Even for an adult, you should cry. It's painful.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's painful. So when you keep the news away from them, then mistrust comes in. Whatever you tell them afterwards, they're like, are you saying the truth or what's happening? So he did very well. I commend you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure after that, they had questions like, why, and now they're not even seeing their sister.
Yeah.
So, but now you pick the conversation and you answer their questions, but they know. They know, and you walk with them through that journey.
Yeah.
And they thrive after that.
They thrive after that. All right. What a way to break this part of the conversation, and then we go on a break. And then when we come back, you talked about support and how support is important. And also, Victor, there's something that is very close to you, and that is most of the time the focus is usually on the mother and on the child who's going to take care of this child, their well-being and all those things. But what about the dad? Who takes care of the dad? So we'll want to also address it, hearing from your side. And all that is coming up after the break. The show is Health Diary. Welcome back to the show. And just in case you're tuning in right now, today we are talking about loss after postpartum hemorrhage and what support looks like. And this is both for the dad and for the kids as well. And the impact of the loss of the mother to the child, and to the entire family, really. And to help us with that conversation, we have Dr. Laura Oyengo, who's a health specialist from UNICEF Kenya. And we also have Victor Ambula, who is a dad to 4 kids, but unfortunately lost his wife to postpartum hemorrhage. And Doc, again, before we went on a break, so we're talking about breaking the news, right, to the kids. And it's okay to allow them to cry and also see you as an adult cry. Because most of the time we're used to saying, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. But yet they're going through the emotions and it is okay for them to feel the emotions. But Victor, so for you, I know at this point everybody is focusing on, so there's the loss, right, that has happened. And then we have this child who is going to take it. Everybody is focusing on what we need to do for this child. But for you, who's taking care of you at this point and what is happening? How are you feeling at that point?
It wasn't an easy moment. Actually, in my life, I described 23rd of October, 2023 as the darkest day in my life. And looking at everybody, I could see friends. The friends visited. Fortunately, me and my wife went to school from class 1 to class 8. Tulisoma pamoja. So my friends were primary, walikuwa friends wake wa primary. So we could get many friends coming. Then tumegrow mtaa moja, Mukuru Kayaba. Okay. So bahati nzuri tukahama baadaye. So my friends were her friends. So friends could stream in, wanakuja wanatuongelesha, getting to know how Janelle is doing, following up on the other kids the way they are doing. But as time went by, the focus much ilikuwa to Janelle, which was okay. And I appreciate my auntie, who happens to be the last born wa my mom. Immediately after burial, we moved with her in. She came home. We stayed her for close to 1.5 years, actually 1 year, 2 months. Akinisaidia kulea Janelle, but a time came, she had to move, go do other things. So when she moved, I tried house helps. I did the first house help. Alikuwa mzuri sana, we worked together, aliniangalia mtoto vizuri, but she had to go because of her personal reasons. I got another one. I didn't like the way she was relating with the kids, the way they were. So ikabaki nimemwachilia. So kumwachilia nilifikiria like, what next? What do I do? I had to go back to my mom. That's my auntie. I lost my mom 10 years ago. So huyu mwenye naishi naye, we call her mom kwa sababu niye yuko. So I went to her, told her that, Mom, I'm finding it hard. I'll stay with Jeremy and Jason, but kindly help me with Janelle. So she accepted. So for now, they stay with Janelle. It's not easy for me, neither is it easy for the boys. Daily, they normally ask, like, Dad, when is Janelle coming? We want Janelle, we miss her.
Yeah.
We want to stay with her. We want her company. But again, looking at, I have to hustle, I have to go to work, they have to go to school.
Yeah.
Who will remain with Janelle? House helps, si wale wa kuaminika. So currently she's with
Your
mom.
mom.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's totally commendable, because I can only imagine the sacrifice that is there to be separated, from your child.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what they need at that time is maybe, that constant attention. And Dr. Laura, this is where I bring you in terms of then the support at different stages, of a child, and what does that look like? And now, in the absence of the mom, right?
Yeah.
So what does that look like then?
So in the first maybe 3 or so months, rearing a young child, can you feed? Are you able to give that really undivided attention?
Yeah.
And do you have somebody to support you? And if you don't, what should you do?
Yeah.
Because if you don't give this child that care, other complications will set in.
Very nice, yeah.
And I'll use Victor's story, if you allow me, just to walk the audience through this journey.
Yeah.
So Victor did the right thing. He noticed that here I can't.
Yeah.
And he got a trusted female caregiver.
Yes.
And I'm sure the whole community was happy with that.
Sure.
Everyone calmed down.
Sure.
And I'm sure she used to tell the children stories about who their mom was, how she's in heaven, and how she's looking at them, also giving psychosocial support to the children.
Okay.
Now, as the child grows, the young child, of course, they will grow. They'll want to be a bit more independent. This is a family unit, and the family unit needs to stay together.
Yeah.
If that care is not accorded, textbook case, what is happening to him? The caregiver goes, he needs to make a living, and he doesn't have any support. So this young child, because of the vulnerabilities, has to be taken to a home where they can continue receiving that care. And that's what has happened.
Yeah.
However, now you face family fragmentation. The family starts breaking down. And I'm sure your sons are pointing all this to the mom per se. Like, if mom was here,
Yeah.
our sister would be with us. So currently what he needs right now is for ongoing mental support for you and your sons, for them to understand it is temporary. And Dad is doing everything to get Janelle back home.
Have you tried like seeking therapy, speaking to say a specialist?
Okay, after all that happened, I was booked for a session with a therapist. I only had one session. It was helpful, but I'd say that such sessions for other people, if I would say that it would be better if it's done more frequent, because grieving is a journey.
Yeah.
And it's not a thing that you just go for one session and say that you're okay. So if at all such session can be available for people like me or other people that are going through what I went through, would be better.
Yeah.
At least we'll help them heal and get through the journey.
Yeah. And having gone through this journey, and you talked about how mental health support is important, not just one session, but a continuous process. But what else do you feel from where you sit can be done to at least make it easier for you and to help you support your kids and give them, the best that you can give?
Okay, just to add on what Dr. has mentioned, you see, like when a father dies, for example, for my case, if I were the one who died, on the day Janelle was being delivered, the mother would be there to provide milk, breast milk, kushughulikia mtoto anyonye. That thing is very, very expensive. That one tin goes at 2,000. So when we started with Janelle, she could do one tin in 2 weeks. It reached time, Janelle was taking one tin in 3 days. That's 2,000 shillings after 3 days. There's a time I used to go buy like a box of 20 tins. After a few days, mama anakuja ananiambia, Victor, by the way, hii ni ya mwisho tunafungua, so you need to go get other ones. So I don't think, unaona kama hizi vitu tax zinaongezwa. Haki ya Mungu, maziwa haifai kuongezwa, especially non-milk haifai kuongezwa. Na if at all, kama if it's possible, hii maziwa ifanywe free, would be much better. Would be much better, because as a man, like coughing 2K after every 2 days, it's not easy. Then I think there are many initiatives, there are many organizations coming up for the girl child. So ukiangalia hata shule primary unasikianga hii mradi ni ya wasichana, we are doing panties for the girls, we are doing pads for the girls, we are doing this for the girls. There's a scholarship but it's only for the girls. Ukiangalia hata KCSE, tukifanya KCSE, cut-off ya msichana kwenda university ni C+, ya mvulana ni B+. Na ukiangalia msichana amesomea Alliance, huyu mvulana amesomea a village school, but just because he's a boy anaenda kukandamizwa kwa sababu priority inapatiwa the girl child. I foresee a future whereby we'll have very strong women and no men to marry them. Hata ladies wameenda pile, anaenda anatafuta mtoto, anaachana na hazia, anakuja na kaa na mtoto wake. Unajua kwa sababu I don't need this man. After all, niko na mtoto, you see. So as we work on the girl child, as we work on the widows, ukisikia mradi yote, wale wa mama walifiwa, you see. But for the men, we are the men, you see. Being a man, you should not cry out. You should find for yourself. You should toil. You should make sure things happen because you're a man. But a lady, it's directly opposite.
It's like they have all the support. So what you're saying is that kind of support that is being offered either to, the lady, to the mom, to the girls, should also be offered to the men.
Unaona yenye mademu wa mama wanapatiwa. Only 20% if it was given to men. It would be a difference. It can make a very big difference. But sasa, men are men for themselves. Men are men for
and
themselves.
And that should not work out. Because they have the emotions as well too, right? So equal support when it comes to all this, what do we call them? Like institutions, organizations, they offer this
when
support.
I talk of support, kila mtu ana narrow down on monetary support. Easy. Okay, it's not all about money. It's not about these tangible things. Calling Victor. Victor, how are you doing?
How are you doing?
How are you managing with the kids? So far, how is it? How are things?
Yeah.
It's enough.
I I hear that. I hear
Pambana.
that. Yeah. No, but we hope things will change. We hope that things will change. And from this conversation, we get to understand that, listen, both the men and the women, they're all human beings and they have emotions. And the kids as well, they have emotions. So allow them to process the information, but also offer them equal support.
Yeah.
Thank you, Victor. That was very deep and very insightful. But thank you to both of you, really, for coming by today. Well, time now for you to take a look at this health tip.
We are going to demonstrate on how you are supposed to properly sit when working in your office, on the computer or laptop. So the first thing is, if you are using this type of desktop, you ensure you lift it high as possible, the monitor. Okay. Once you get there, then have yourself relax on the seat and then have your eyes focus on the monitor.
Well, man or woman, a loss is a loss, and it doesn't mean that one gets to get more support than the other, and especially when it comes to a death from postpartum hemorrhage, where both the husband and the child have lost their parent or a spouse. So support is pretty much important. And if you're watching us and probably have lost someone to postpartum hemorrhage, just know that support is available and it is there. Just seek it. If you have any other question, feel free to engage with us on our socials, and that is at NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on X. My name is Winnie Lubembe. A special thanks to Kenyatta National Hospital for hosting us today. Till next week, adios. Mtoto, mumechapa mtoto. Oh, ishe. Right? Lashes zangu zinafika. Okay. Hakuna take two. Right, bye.